Good day. Hi everyone, and as they say, where I come from, sometimes that's all you get, just a slight tweak of the face muscles to acknowledge that you exist in some way on the planet. They're not always friendly in the Black Country in the UK, but a lot of the time they are. But I'm all right. So what I say to you is good day, welcome. Great to have you here. And if you're welcome nowhere else on this planet at the beginning of 2024, you are welcome, very welcome here. So welcome to Spindrifter at the beginning of 2024. We've just had Christmas. I hope you had a much better Christmas than we did. I wouldn't want that again. Thank you very much. New Year tends to be a reflective period as the Happy Christmas greetings are replaced by Happy New Year. And all across the world, just a couple of days ago, we see in these New Year celebrations all over our television screens. If you watch television, I don't generally watch it, but I see it on the media. Celebrations, first of all, we see them in Sydney in Australia, and then we see them in London, around sort of the Big Ben, Westminster type area, and then we see them, of course, 5 hours later, if we're still up, in New York City, as they wait for the ball to drop or whatever it is they do in Times Square. But I have to ask, and every year I find myself asking the same question, because I don't understand it. What are they celebrating? I honestly don't know what people are celebrating at this period of time that we call New Year. I mean, as I understand it, if you want to get yourself a place in Times Square on New Year's Eve, you've got to be there about 8 o'clock in the morning. That's what they told me when I was in New York a few years ago. Well, to heck with that. What happens if you want the loo? I mean, if you need a pee or something even worse? What do? What, you stand there and wait until tomorrow? I don't really think so. I don't really understand what people are celebrating. Is it the passage of time? I don't know. I don't get it. And then there's that song everybody sings, Auld Lang Syne. Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and Auld Lang Syne? Auld Lang Syne apparently means days gone by. But the song, and I'll put the lyrics up on the screen, they don't actually make any sense to me. I mean, if they make sense to you, that's great. Should old acquaintance be forgot? Well, yeah, that's a question, so what? And never brought to mind. Well, why would you want to forget old acquaintance? I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. So I find myself utterly uncertain of what it is that people are celebrating, especially if they've been standing around since 8 o'clock in the morning waiting for a pee to do it. Is it the start of a new season filled with new everything and it's all going to be better? Well, that would make sense, wouldn't it, if every year was better? But that's not how it is. And do you know what? I actually think this thing that we call Happy New Year is a bit of a fraud. It's a fraud. Now, according to the Bible, if you're into the Bible, if you've read any of it, you will find that in the early parts, in the book that's called Genesis, we find that times and seasons were supposedly ordained by God. It's in the very, very first chapter of Genesis. And you could ask, well, Why would a creator ordain times and seasons? Well, the only answer I can come up with is to give us structure. Well, you read it for yourself, make your own mind up. But as I reflect upon that, I'm led to ask myself a question, and the question is this: has it gone too far? Has it gone too far? Have we been misled? And I do wonder about that. Have we been misled? And I find myself, and I'm like 65 years old. So yeah, we all measure time, don't we? I find myself asking the question, do we measure and monitor time to the extent that we are mindlessly controlled and dominated by it and manipulated by it? Do we focus upon time more and more and more in our target-driven, achievement-orientated culture? And that seems to be increasingly the case whichever part of the world you live in. We have calendars on the wall, on your phone, on your tablet, on your laptop, wherever you got them. We have diaries, we have clocks everywhere, except there's no clocks in a doctor's waiting room these days, or in a dentist's waiting room, or in a hospital waiting room, at least not here in the UK, because they don't want you to know how long you've been sat there. But there are clocks everywhere. There's a clock on the dashboard in your car, there's a clock on your phone, there's a clock on your wrist, there's a clock in your pocket. We measure time all the time. And we refer to time constantly. We make statements like, no, I'm sorry, I haven't got the time. And we'll say, time flies, doesn't it? Time flies when you're having fun. But it goes slowly when you're miserable. Oh, I don't know where the time has gone this year. I wish I had like £1 for every time I said that, or heard it even. And there's that one I used to hear a lot when I was a kid. Oh, I wish I could have my time again. Personally, I'm glad I don't have to. Time waits for no man, that's a saying, or woman, or anything in between, depending on how you see life. My grandfather's last words as he lay in hospital on his deathbed were to my grandmother. He said, "Floss, my time has come." People say, "What are you doing?" "Nothing, I'm just killing time." That's a terrible thing. And the worst one, for me, the worst saying, and I don't know where this originates from, but I'd like to slap the person who came up with it. Time is money. Oh, how offensive that is. Time is money. No, time is not money. Everything is not money. And it's really time to start changing that perception. I'm going to ask you to do now, as the sun gently filters in through the window here, which is not something I anticipated, because it's done nothing but rain for the last 2 weeks in the United Kingdom. It's all we get is rain and wind and wind and rain, and you'd rarely get the one without the other. Snow, frost, all those winter things, nah, none of that here. I want to ask you to challenge your brain a little bit. Can you imagine a life without timekeeping? Can you? Just try it for a morning. Try and go for a morning without looking at a watch or any implement of timekeeping. Where I live here, close to the coast, there's lots of seagulls. Lots of them. Some people think they're parasites. I don't think they are. I think we've invaded their environment. But never mind. One thing I do know about seagulls is they're never late. When my dog chases his ball, he does it without first checking his watch. He doesn't bother to check to see if he's got enough time to chase his ball. He just wants to chase his ball. Cats, they don't wonder if there's enough time, do they? They just chill out. What? Why can we not do that? Now I think I'm right in saying that the only creature on this planet that measures time, that counts the hours, is people. And maybe because we do that, people seem to suffer a paralysing fear that no other creature seems to have. And that fear is a fear of our time running out. A fear of there being no more time for us. Are you somebody who's worried about how long you got left? I want to ask you to let go, if you can, to let go of everything that you have ever learned or think you know about time. I want you to consider the possibility that if there is a creator, the being that we call God, consider the possibility that being's ways are not the same ways as ours. That our ways are not the same ways as God. Consider the existence of a being to whom time means absolutely nothing. Wow. I doubt that I could sling half a dozen sentences together without making reference to time in some way or another. Imagine a being to whom time means absolutely nothing. A being to whom 1,000 years is very much like a day. There's a section of scripture in the Bible, and it says that, and I'll put it up on the screen. Consider a being that lives in a state of constant eternity. No time, no need to measure that which does not end, is there? No limits, no need for clocks or calendars or diaries. It's very, very difficult for us to grasp that concept, isn't it? It's really difficult for us to do that. I don't know whether you're a person who reads the Bible. I mean, obviously I wouldn't know. I wouldn't have a clue, would I? And if you're not, that's up to you. It's your choice. You don't have to read the Bible, do you? Any more than I have to. But if you got some interest in looking at that, one of the sections of the Bible I would always encourage people to read is the book of Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes, it's a wonderful name for a book, by the way. It's not heavy, it's not difficult to read, and it makes a lot of sense to most of us. And it's the bit of the Bible that says there is a time for everything, a time to live, a time to be born, a time to die, all that sort of stuff. You often hear that particular section of scripture read out at funerals, for example. One thing it says in Ecclesiastes, in the section that we call chapter 3, it says, "He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the human heart. No one can, yet no one can understand what God has done from the beginning to the end. He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the human heart. Yet no one can understand what God has done from the beginning to the end." And we have this eternal being who claims to have made us in his image. And in so doing, he's given us choice, as he himself has choice. And we can choose to allow ourselves to be deceived, to allow ourselves to be led along the garden path. According to the story in the Bible, the link between us humans, and the timeless one was broken. At that point, death was introduced to us, and at that point we became slaves to time and seasons and toil. Slaves to time, bound by it, and to a very great extent we still are. I remember when they began to bring computers and technology into our lives, and they said it would make life easier for us, that we'd have more time. I ain't got any more time. Don't matter how many laptops, tablets or mobile phones I own, I still haven't got any more time. I've got exactly the same amount of time I would have had without them. They haven't made life any easier. We're slaves to time. We're bound by it. We have a beginning and we have an end. So we are bound by time. Even though, according to the story that the Bible declares to us, even though like him who made us, we are eternal beings. And if that be so, and physical life is not the end of all life for us, then if that be so, we are not ultimately limited by time, are we? Even though we think we are. Now there's a deception, isn't it? But we are separated from the source of our life. You might say that we are at the moment lost in time. And that was our situation, that was our position, that was the status in which we found ourselves. And then, and again, this is according to the story of the New Testament in the Bible, and you at this point in time may not believe it, you may not accept it, and to some extent or another you've got to be prepared to do something with it. It's there. You either ignore it or you don't. It's up to you. But according to the Bible, the one who created us in his image made himself in our image. He became one of us. He showed us his nature. He showed us his power through resurrection by bringing himself back to life again. He showed us his power over death, and he showed us therefore his power over time. He is free from limits, and he offers that freedom to me and to you, to anybody. Freedom from fear that time will run out. I never used to understand that, and to some extent I used to be scared that my day was going to come and my time was going to run out. That is no longer the case. Our distraction was and is so severe that there needed to be something that we could see, a striking image to grab our attention. And I think the cross does that. It's a very striking image. I don't think we can really see what people really fear, but we can see freedom, the cross, the one whose time ended and who then came back afresh to release us from that bondage. I believe, and I've come to this position over a period of time, I believe that for me there is an existence that is beyond my limited physical existence. And I believe that that existence is free. It's a gift. I don't have to earn it by being nice. I can't be nice for long enough. All I have to do is accept it. and it gives me a freedom, a never-ending, unlimited, beautiful existence. And if you're not sure what that existence might look like, what I recommend you do, get yourself a Bible from somewhere, go to the very last book, the book of Revelation, and look at chapter 21, which is almost right at the very, very end, and it tells you there what that unlimited, unmeasured, beautiful existence is going to look like for those of us that have chosen to accept it. But as with many things, there's an irony, there's a catch, and the catch is this: for each of us, there's a time limit, and we need to accept that gift while we still can. That's my understanding. And if we don't accept it, we might find ourselves facing a very different kind of eternal existence. And if you think this world is bad, well, a fellow by the name of William Penn, after whom Pennsylvania is named apparently, he said, "Death is no more than a turning of us over from time to eternity." And I think what that means is that whether you like it or not, you're an eternal being. And if you're thinking of if you're somebody who's thinking about taking their life, well, you can't. All you can do is get rid of the physical one. Your soul lives on, it goes somewhere else. Where's it going? That's the big question. So back to New Year. If these New Year celebrations are about letting go of what is behind you and hoping for a better future, well, it's a fraud. It's a fraud, it's a fake, it's not real. It's a subtle, delicate, teasing lie. And yet, people will stand around for hours in the cold, in some parts of the world, for the privilege of singing a song they don't understand in representation of a mistruth. I believe that there's a better version that replaces Happy New Year with Happy New Life. And I would encourage anybody to stop and think and look at that with a view to accepting that happy new life. I hope this video has been helpful to somebody. Might have annoyed you. Well, that's fine as well. I don't mind. I felt the need to share it as we start this period of time called 2024. I don't still understand the Happy New Year business. It's just a change of date. You could say the same thing today. You could say a new year starts on January the 3rd, and you'd be right, it does, but it's not a new year, it's a new day. That's all we've ever got. We can't guarantee beyond that moment that we currently have. So if you're seeking, if you're searching, if you're wondering, if you're asking questions about life, the purpose of it, the meaning of it, I strongly urge you to keep on searching. Don't give up. Don't listen to those folk who tell you, pack it in, it's all irrelevant, it doesn't matter, just enjoy yourself. No. Life is about much, much more than that. So I hope you've been blessed. I hope you have a blessed day. And if you'll excuse me for doing it, may I wish you a Happy New Year, in the sense that I hope very much that the time that is immediately in front of you is a good time. For some of us, it will not be. That's the reality. I can only wish you all the best. Take care. God bless you all. Have a fantastic day, and I will be back in touch soon. Bye.